Friday, July the 16th. And for the 111th Open, it's flashpoint.
MacDonald here with some golf coffee.
This is the story which, from Troon's press tent, rings round the world.
Bernard Langer and Des Smith joined the desperate scramble of superstars yesterday, determined to stop the Open Championship becoming Bobby Clampett's one-man show.
Oh, and another good-looking shot here from the young American. He's only 22, but what a marvellous prospect.
He led them all the dance over the links of Troon to finish with a new course record of 66 that seemed downright irreverent to the occasion.
Yes, sir, and that's 11 under par, 133, only one stroke off the halfway record set way back in 1934 by Henry Cotton. But can he, I wonder, keep it up?
The dilemma facing Clampett for the rest of this championship is agonizing. He still has to tackle the prospect of winning not only his first major, but his first title as a professional.
So, Clampett, 5 ahead of Nick Price, South African. Then Smith, the Irishman, and Langer, the German, with Tom Watson, 3 times champion, casting his shadow from below. The halfway position, and the release pin for the dramatic possibilities of Saturday the 17th.
Well, this is it. The round that really could be crucial. The third day's play at Royal Troon.
On the tee, Bobby Clampett.
And rather surprisingly, Clampett taking a 3-iron down the first, which is downwind.
Well, if he'd played this morning, he wouldn't have taken an iron from the tee. He'd have needed a full-blooded driver, but the wind has changed right round now, and it's going to be a problem of making the birdies on the way out, as it was the last 2 days, and trying to hold on to a score on the way back. I think somebody might catch him.
Well, could that someone be Tom Watson, the United States Open champion? Playing with Sandy Lyle, the young Scot who's on the same score, 4 under par. And Watson, astonishingly, has driven this first green, and the whole 362 yards, so this for an eagle too. What a start this would be. And I'm sure he'll manage to get that one in for a birdie 3. Yes, nice 3, and Watson goes to 5 under par, and straight away puts a little bit of pressure on young Master Clampett. Meantime, ahead at the short 5th, 210 yards, the defending champion from the United States, Bill Rogers. Equal 10th overnight, now level par. And what a majestic iron shot from Rogers, chance for a 2. A tremendous American entry here as usual, not many as yet making much impact. Jack Nicklaus is 3 over par. Ray Floyd's also 3 over par. Ben Crenshaw 5 over. And Craig Stadler, the Masters champion, doing a little better, 1 over. And nearly a birdie. Tricky putting here at Troon, as Mr. Stadler's discovering. Only 2 Americans in the top 8 at the moment, Watson and, of course, Clampett. And the young man from California holding up pretty well, 11 under par, as he plays the short 5th. 210 yards, and for Clampett, a 6-iron. If he can win here, he'll be the youngest Open champion this century. Down the slope and finishes up against that little fringe. Well, a 6-iron, 210 yards, takes some believing. Nick Price, down to 4 under. Now Clampett. Tricky little shot. Pops it up the hill. Well, fortune favours the brave. My word, what a 2. Clampett, would you believe, has never played a British seaside links before, but now he's 12 under par. And still, rather a strange-looking leaderboard. Only Watson of the favourites up there. And despite that first birdie, he's in fact dropped a stroke to par today. But meanwhile, over at the 6th, this really monster of a par 5, 577 yards, Clampett's in trouble. He drove into a bunker, hacked it out into another, this his 3rd. Well, it's up in a cloud of sand. Is it out? Well, yes it is, but only just. He's still about 280 yards from the green, and he'll be playing 4. Well, now, what a calamity faces Clampett. Clampett using one of these metal-headed clubs, like a 2-wood. And that's going left. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It clatters through the crowd. And Clampett in all sorts of trouble. Price on his way to a probable par 5. But Clampett, well, he's found a bad lie in thick rough, and he's going to be playing 5 on this par 5 hole. I shudder to think how many strokes he may drop here. It's not going to make it. It's right up against the face in the corner of that left-hand bunker. Oh dear, oh dear. Now this is going to call for a lot of nerve and skill. He'll do well to get it out. Yes, it's on the green. But that's 6 and still a lot to do. Well, what an adventurous 7 this would be, if he can hold this. No, and that was a weak one. Getting a little flustered. Manages to get it in at last, but that's a 3 over par 8. Sympathetic applause for a triple bogey. Price, meanwhile, after those long delays, putts for a par 5. He stays 4 under, but for Clampett, absolute disaster.
And now around the turn and into the wind. And the young man's lead of 7 that became 4 dwindles after the 10th to 3 and at the 11th to 2. Now the 15th.
This for par.
The 7-stroke margin's down to 1. Price is 2nd. But others have been drawn close. Apart from Watson, Sandy Lyle the Scot, Peter Oosterhuis the Englishman, and at the short 17th, Des Smith the Irishman.
223 yards, a 3-wood. Well, he's won quite a few tournaments in his career, but I don't think many people would have fancied his chances here this week. But there he is, 2 under par. And a chance to go 3 under. Yes, dead centre. And the net tightens even more round Clampett's neck. Smith, 3 under. And up ahead, at the final hole of this 3rd round, it's Sandy Lyle, also 3 under. And Watson, 2 under. Watson's 2nd shot to this par 4 hole.
Get in the hole.
On line, but a little bit weak. Lyle getting a huge reception from the Scottish crowd. It'll be Watson to putt first. This one for a 3. Oh, never enough pace or line. He hasn't putted very well today. He waits, Lyle putts, and Lyle, like Tom Purtzer of the United States, emulated Clampett's 66 yesterday. He has this for a 3. And that, had it dropped, would have put him just a stroke off the leader. Yes, around a 73. He bogeyed 4 holes in a row, played the last 5 in 2 under par, and finishes at 3 under par for 3 rounds. And that's there for a 74, 2 over today, 2 under for 3 rounds. A bit disappointing for him, but both he and Sandy Lyle still very much in the hunt. 2 pairs still out, and it's Clampett at the 16th, a par 5, 542 yards, his 3rd shot. And not the easiest of lines to approach from. And, oh dear me, look, it stays above ground. But what a tricky one from there, although he does have a lot of green to work with. Now Price is 3rd. Looks very controlled and composed. And that's a good 3rd shot and a possible birdie chance. But first, Clampett's 4th shot. Mike McDonald's down there watching.
It's been sad to see him collapse in this way. He had such a big lead. He didn't know whether to conserve it or to attack. He started off on the first, conserving it, then he tried to attack. It hasn't worked, and now he's in a complete muddle. It's unforgivable to miss this green in 3.
Very good chip. Well, he might get a par 5 here after all. Now a chance for Price to draw level. Never quite right. So that's par 5. Now Clampett must go in this time if he's to keep a 1-stroke lead. Yeah, very brave putt indeed, and he hangs on to that slender 1-stroke lead. 5 under par. While up at the 18th, Smith, 3 under, playing 3. Just a wee bit shy. But that'll be a par 4 and a round of 74 for Smith. Final tap in, 2-1-3. 3 under for 3 rounds, like Sandy Lyle, and just a couple of strokes off the pace. Now Bernhard Langer, the West German, runner-up last year. Par 4, yes, it goes in, but a bad day for him. Tied 3rd overnight, but today a 78, which puts him 1 over par. But Smith, very much in the picture, at 3 under. That's how they stand then, as the final pair come to the end of the 3rd round. Price has just hit his 2nd shot way into the crowd. He'll most probably have a free drop, but an awkward pitch to the green. Now Clampett's 2nd. 425 yards and a par 4 the green, right up against the clubhouse windows. And a good stroke from Clampett, whose nerves must be pretty raw at the moment. Now, there's Price. Rather fortunate after that poor 2nd shot to get a free drop, but still faced with a very awkward shot over the bunker. Played very well, 269 so far. Tries to get some backspin. And might still save his par. And now Clampett, after all his trials and tribulations, he'll be delighted with 2 putts from here. pretty good effort. Price now has this for a par 4. Quite a swing from left to right. Would you believe it? A 74, he bogeyed the first and second holes, but then played the rest of the course in par. 2-1-2, and that's 4 under for 3 rounds. Yes, par 4, but that's a 78, 6 over for the round, same score as Bernard Langer, but he still leads by 1 stroke. Well, I suppose it was almost inevitable that things would get a bit tighter today.
They have, but I'm not too happy about the way it happened. After all, Price has dropped 2 shots on the day and finds himself within a stroke of the lead. I think now that everybody must be watching Watson. 3 shots back and a proven winner. And those in between, Price, Lyle, Smith, don't know what the pressure is really going to be like out there tomorrow.
Before the drama, nostalgia. Henry Cotton, the champion in 1934, 37 and 48. And Fred Daly, who won in 47. Together, they play 8 holes. Daly's 70 years old. Remember when he was 35? Cotton 75. Remember when he was 27. Today, they're the curtain raiser before the main event. And like all good acts, they know precisely how to finish. Exit Cotton and Daly. Enter Arnold Palmer, himself 52. Remember when he was 32 and won here at Troon? This week, early on, he led the championship, and every day he's brought back memories. Every year we ask, is this Palmer's last Open? And the answer always turns out to be no. This year, Palmer once said he wouldn't return once he had to qualify. For 1983, this year's top 25 will gain exemption. Arnold Palmer finishes 27th. Wedged between the veterans and the contenders comes a unique figure. Malcolm Lewis, the only amateur left.
And that'll be a 75 for Malcolm Lewis. And young Lewis from Bristol achieves the great honour of winning the silver medal as the leading amateur in this, the 111th Open. Meantime, out at the long fourth, 2 rather more celebrated names. Severiano Ballesteros and Jack Nicklaus. Ballesteros 8 behind the leader. And a real gem, but for Sevi, a little too late for this championship. It'll be Nicklaus to putt first, a long try for an eagle 3. He's 3 over par. Splendid try, but clearly this is not going to be Nicklaus's Open either. But now the pressure right on young Clampett's shoulders.
Do you feel charged up?
Oh, I'd rather not talk about that. I just know that I've got my game plan set and I'm gonna go try as hard as I can today, that's all.
Not force it, let it happen.
Just work as hard as I can.
Excellent.
Well, already working hard out on the first hole, 2 British players. Nick Faldo, 1 over par, and Peter Oosterhuis, 1 under. Faldo's second. That easy swing.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Just the sort of start Faldo needed. 6 strokes off the lead, Oosterhuis only 4. And there's the chap they're all chasing, about to begin his last round in a few minutes' time. Back at the first green, though, it's Peter Oosterhuis, putting for a par 4. Gets it. Well, after that splendid second shot, here's Faldo for a 3. And it just tippled in, a birdie. Now level par.
No player in the ensuing 2 pairs can emulate Faldo. After 2 holes, all are on the same score as they were overnight. Masahiro Kuramoto, a skillful Japanese, playing with Watson. Watson himself. Then Des Smith and Sandy Lyle. And nobody is yet threatening the leader. Only, perhaps, Faldo.
Well, at the third, he dropped the stroke we saw him gain at the first, but now at the fourth, a chance for an eagle 3. And it's there. An eagle 3, and he's now 1 under par and only 4 behind Bobby Clampett, who's driven safely at the first, as indeed has Nick Price. Going right. And that shot most certainly will start the typewriters tapping out again over in the press tent.
Now tell me, what do you think of Clampett's chances?
Zilch.
Really? And Watson?
I'd say Watson's a heavy favorite.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks it's Watson and Clampett, but I don't think you can discount Lyle. But he's a great strong player. I discount Price and Smith. I think they do too.
Yeah. They're happy to be where they are.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if Price does discount himself. He's playing 3 at this par 4 opening hole. And how about that one? And Clampett straight away is caught. Now they're both 5 under par. Down there at 2 under is Faldo, who's gained another stroke. Now tied with Watson, who's playing the par 5 4th, with the little Japanese from Hiroshima, Kuramoto. He only turned professional last year, but here he is, 1 under par. Third shot. Now Watson's third. That looks good. Nice pace. So 2 chances for birdies at this par 5 4th hole. No. He remains 1 under. Smooth as silk, a birdie 4. Watson 3 under. And back at the second hole, the leaders both 5 under. Royal Troon, of course, close to Prestwick International Airport. Price gathers himself again. This a par 4 hole, he's playing 3. Two birdies in 2 holes, and this 25-year-old South African is now 6 under. And putting a huge amount of pressure on young Clampett, who has this little putt for a par. And an astonishing 2-shot swing here at the second. Clampett takes 5 to Price's 3, and the South African leads the Open Championship by 2 strokes at 6 under par. And back at the 4th, 556 yards, there's Smith from Ireland and Sandy Lyle from Scotland, both still 3 under. Here's Smith's second. Oh, and he's cut that away to the right. Kicks down, and I do believe that Mr. Smith has been rather fortunate to get a lie as good as that. Sandy Lyle also in trouble, about to play his third, hit rather a wild and wayward second up into the crowd on top of those sandhills, not lying all that badly. Up she goes across the angle of the green. Will it hold? No, it just falls off the green into the semi-rough. So Lyle and Smith struggling a bit at the 4th, and another British player, Oosterhuis, in a little spot of bother perhaps at the next par 5, the 6th. This is where Clampett came to grief yesterday. Oosterhuis now down to level par and playing 3. What a beauty. Faldo, 2 under, set up for a par, but Oosterhuis for a birdie. A very good 4 indeed, and that puts Oosterhuis back to 1 under. Lyle and Smith have each dropped a shot. Kuramoto's gained 1, and Price still 6 under to Clampett's 4 under as they come to the 4th. Played it well. And a very good chance for a Clampett birdie. And the pressure very much back on Nick Price, who's in the bunker and playing 4. Had to dig that one up and out. Did well, but it needed another bounce. This for a par 5. One over par 6. And if young Master Clampett holds this, there'll be another 2-stroke swing. Yes, sir, and this time it's he who birdies and Price who bogeys, and again they're level. Both 5 under, going to the short 5th. Great student of the mechanics of the golf swing. Well, he was too far yesterday. Well, would you believe it? There must be at least 35 yards difference between today and yesterday. This hole 210 yards. Oh, an absolute beauty. So it's almost the reverse of the last hole. Awkward shot again for Clampett. You see the depth of these bunkers? Played it boldly. No backswing, hands on hips, can't believe it. Well, this young man is experiencing many strange things on this links golf. That's a 4 and a stroke drop to par. Now Price for a 2. Oh, and you don't often see 2 such near misses as that on the same green. But the simple facts are, Price got his par 3 and Clampett took 4. So what a championship this has become. And 8 players now within just 3 strokes. Incidentally, Raymond Floyd, the Americans, just returned a fine 67, which shows what low scoring's been possible today. Meantime, Clampett still 1 behind Price at the 7th. This to save his par 4. No, not to be at all, and a chance, perhaps, for Price, because he'll be putting for a 3. What a putt, what a 3. And now, instead of being just 1 ahead, he's 3. Price, 6 under. And Clampett, 3 under with Watson and Smith.
For Clampett, the slide's begun again. Shades of yesterday. At the 8th, he goes 2 under. Price also drops a shot there, so leads by 2 from Watson and Smith. Another unhinged is Lyle with 3 successive bogeys, and Oosterhuis drops a stroke where others have birdied at the 11th. That's where Watson is now.
481 yards, a par 5, and after a glorious drive, we're watching this on television, here's Watson's 3-iron. Well, what a marvellous stroke from Watson. He's only had 1 birdie today, and then suddenly from 200 yards, he almost puts it into the hole, and suddenly, well, he's almost certain to get an eagle 3. Five under and ties for the lead.
Those who plumped for Watson now put on that "I told you so" look. Particularly when Price drops another stroke to par at the 9th, and the American leads the championship. But, well, they're in for a shock. Price birdies the 10th, and again, it's a tie at the top.
This infamous 11th, which was such a factor when Palmer won 20 years ago. Nicklaus actually took 11 here, but today it's playing more like a par 4. So another great chance, perhaps, for Price to get a birdie. Well within his reach. Incidentally, Bill Rogers, the defending champion, finished 6 over par, and so finishes well down the list. Nice firm wrists down the hill. So nearly an eagle. But that's a birdie. That's 2 in a row. And again, he's the outright leader. Watson then, 1 behind as he plays the 15th. A 6-iron for his second at this 457-yard hole. He was thinking about a 7, but his caddy, the faithful Files, recommends a 6.
That's too far.
He says too far.
Right.
And he's right. Kuramoto doing well at 2 under, but most eyes on Watson as he surveys his 3rd shot. An awkward little chip, lots of green to pitch and run the ball onto. That quick, familiar action, that's hard. Holes are running out, but Watson, a man of vast experience. This for his par 4. No, it's always left, and that, I'm afraid, will be a 5 for the US Open champion. And, well, just look at that. Price has birdied another, the 12th. That's 3 in a row, as Watson was bogeying. So this young South African player is 3 ahead of the field again, with only 6 holes of play remaining. And not many at the start of the week would have given him a dog's chance.
He played 7 tournaments this year, missed the cut in 3. I think his best finish so far is 28th. Peter Jackson is looking to see if we can get some background on Price. I think his mother and brother live down in the West Country.
They live here. His mother lives in a place called Aylsham outside Norwich. His father's dead.
Price looking a winner then, but at the short 17th, let's take a look at someone who's been making very nice progress today. Tom Pertzer from the United States. He's now 1 under par. Tee shot at this very demanding, long par 3. Are we going to see a hole in 1? Oh, marvellous stroke from Pertzer. And back at the 13th, Price under a bit of pressure. This for a par. That's a stroke drop to par, but he's still 2 ahead of Tom Watson. Watson's tee shot at the short 17th. Pertzer so nearly had a 1. What would Tom give for a tee shot like that? Well, it pitched short, bounced on, the right distance. A lot of money as well as prestige at stake here this week in the first £250,000 opener. £32,000 to the winner. Watson, one feels, needs to hole a putt or 2 on the last couple of holes, and that's not one of them. In fact, he's gone nearly 3 feet past. Meanwhile, just ahead at the final hole, Nick Faldo and Peter Oosterhuis. Both of them 2 under par. That's Oosterhuis' second. Fine stroke. But back now we go to the 17th. That's a 3, but he's still 2 strokes behind and only 1 hole to play. The hole where at this moment Peter Oosterhuis is putting for a birdie 3. And Oosterhuis, who's been coming along unnoticed, suddenly gets a 3, and at the very last gasp, he's rounding 70 and a fine total of 3 under par. Now Faldo for his par. And oh, in through the back door it went, but that's a fine 69, a total of 286, 2 under par. But Oosterhuis, 3 under, will finish very well indeed. 3rd at worst, who knows, perhaps even better. And they're followed up this final hole by Tom Watson. On the fairway as usual. What wouldn't he give for a final 3? Looking good. He's certainly given himself a chance for a birdie 3, and one feels that he needs to hold that if he's going to sneak this championship. Kuramoto, well, still 2 under and playing his 3rd. Awkward little shot from the sand, but how often we've seen these Orientals play wizardry shots from situations like this. So nearly into the hole, and he should finish 2 under par. What a splendid week for Kuramoto. Now Watson. This for a 3. He hasn't holed many putts today. What a cheer if this goes in. And Tom must feel that the chance of the championship is gone. Round in 70, 2 under par today and 4 under for the championship. And that probably won't be good enough, because he's still 2 strokes behind Nick Price. The South African, though, having terrible problems at the long par 4 15th. 2 wild shots into a bunker, just got it out. Here he is, playing 4. And suddenly the game has changed. From all those birdies, this is an awful sweat. This hole 457 yards and proving to be the most difficult and dangerous hole on the course today. Price for a 5. That's a 2-over par, 6 for Price. And suddenly, the clouds roll over and the sun goes in. Certainly for Nick Price. 3 strokes ahead with 6 holes to play, now level with Watson and just 3 holes to play. 1 pair between them, still to finish. Sandy Lyle, who slipped to 1 under, and Des Smith, 2 under. And there's a little bit of Irish magic for you. Certain to finish in 71, 2 under par total of 286. Well done, Des Smith. Good week's work, had his chances. Now Lyle. This for a 3. Comes from the left. Now then, Sandy, with all these eyes looking down on you, just hit it right of centre. Around the 74 and finishes 1 under par. Now those eyes turn away from Lyle and find Price at the 16th. Third shot. This hole 542 yards and right on target. Unlucky. That ball could have done with 1 more bounce, but still a putt for a birdie. Well now, this putt to be the championship leader with just 2 holes to play. No pace, and that'll be but a par.
Parring that 16th is almost like dropping a shot at this stage, isn't it?
That's right. And 17 is no gimme, no handout. I'd be quite happy to settle for par right now.
But what he really needs, of course, is a birdie too. Oh, and that's woefully short. Now, did he miss-hit or did he misjudge? Clampett, not much more than a bystander now. All attention on Price. Can he get down in 2? Well, many people would putt from here. Price electing to play a little chip and run. Must get it close. Oh, hits the hole, my word, and spins by 5.5, almost 6 feet past. Oh, my, oh, my. What a moment for this young man from South Africa. Difficult putt. Doesn't look to be much borrow, but there is. He needs to hold this for his par and to remain tied for the championship. Oh, tragedy. Not long ago, he was 3 ahead with 6 holes to play. Now a stroke behind Tom Watson. And time and holes fast running out. Just this final hole, 425 yards and a par 4 to play. Only 5 players have had birdies here today, and anything less will be no good. Oh, he's hooked it. Oh, clatters down there in the crowd. It all depends whether he's going to be fortunate enough to get any sort of lie at all. But what a difficult shot he'll have in from there, across the edge of the fairway, over that bunker, with the pin tucked on the other side of the green, near further bunkers. And not lying too badly. At least it's hard and packed where the crowd have all stamped around, and Willie Whitelaw, the Home Secretary, can scarcely bear to watch. Good shot. Bold and strong, but gets some backspin, and he's not out of it yet. Very fine effort indeed. Over 130,000 people here this week, one of the biggest crowds ever to assemble for an Open Championship. And somewhere in there, his price. Here he comes, slightly bruised and punch-drunk. And his caddy collapses in a heap. But what a moment for this young man. With one good long putt, he can get into a playoff with Tom Watson. But first, it'll be Clampett. This for a par and a round of 76. Oh, no. Once 12 under, once 7 ahead. He finishes level par and ties for 10th place with Jack Nicklaus. And now the climax of this 111th Open. This putt to tie with Watson and force a playoff. No, not enough pace. And would you believe it, after all that toing and froing, Tom Watson, almost submerged by well-wishers with his wife at his side, is the champion by a single stroke. What a story.
Tom Watson yesterday became Open champion in a way he never thought possible. His 4 under par 284 total gave him a one-stroke victory over the obscure 25-year-old South African Nick Price.
Yes, Price and Oosterhuis tied for second. The 73 for Price, but deep down, what a tragedy for him.
The 32-year-old Kansas City professional confessed afterwards, if you'd told me after 36 holes that I had a chance of winning, I'd have said you were crazy.
It may be argued that Royal Troon won this Open because the winning score's the highest for 14 years. But the memory will be of 3 men, 1 popular hero, and 2 young figures of deep pathos. For the chance to win the Open may come but once in a lifetime.
Clampett's only consolation, the memory of that marvellous second round of 66. And now, in a little-known but annual ceremony, he receives from Britain's crown jewellers a silver replica of that scorecard, judged to have been the best round in the Open. But as for the championship, as with him, so with Price, it's too late now.
The champion golfer of the year, Tom Watson.
For the record, Watson's the 5th man in history to win the British and US Opens in the same year. He's won 4 championships here. Harry Vardon's record is 6. It stood for 68 years. How much longer?
When I was watching Nick Price finish, I can feel for him because I've been in that position before, and I think that the man will shine again. There's no question about it. If someone had said to me at the beginning of the week, will you take second place, I would have said yes. And I'm proud of finishing second to somebody like Tom Watson. I've thought a lot about it while I went in Scotland, and I figure it must be the grass.